Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy. Thy will be done. Forgiveness. It's the scent of the violet that leaves on the heel that crushed it, according to Mark Twain. We're going to talk about forgiveness here in just a few minutes. And in just a few minutes, we're going to have Rich Savinsky talking about consultants in the workplace. He has always some extra interesting ideas about what's going on in the marketplace regarding consultants. He's always got a good, thoughtful conversation about that. Lately, we've been taking 10 seconds to talk about or to think about gratitude. So think of 3 things that you were grateful for today. Go. You can't be unhappy when you're grateful. Good. All right. I want to talk about forgiveness. You think, well, what an odd kind of topic to bring up in a program about looking for a job or changing jobs or whatever. And I'll tell you how it came about. He's a friend of mine, and I've known him for 20 years, and he's looking for a job. And he went through a series of, 8 interviews with a company over a period of maybe 9 weeks. And they finally told him that they weren't going to hire him. And he was furious, absolutely livid that they weren't going to hire him. They gave him all kinds of indications that they were going to hire him, even told by the hiring manager that he was perfect, that he had the right kind of background they were looking for, etc. Just led him on in every way they possibly could. But they didn't give him an offer. They told him they were going to pass. They didn't tell him why. They just told him they were going to pass. He speculated it was because of his age. He's 62. He never told him he was 62, but it's obvious when you're 62 that you're 62. You're not 35. But he didn't know that was the reason. But he was just livid. They wasted all my time. They took up all my time. They led me on. They told me that I was perfect. Everybody in the place told me that I was. He called me to talk to me about this, asked me if I had a few minutes so he could vent. It didn't have anything to do with anything that I had him in touch with. He went on for 15 minutes. He was livid, just furious about the situation. I said to him, you got to forgive, you got to forget, you got to move on to the next deal. He said, I'm so mad I can't move on to the next deal. I'm just furious. They're going to do what's best for them. If you feel personally slighted, forgive and forget. Just forget it. They shouldn't have led me on. That was wrong of them to do. And I wrote the president of the company. I wrote the chairman of the board. I wrote everybody how they discriminated against me and how mad I am and how that was wrong. And I'm be willing to bet you that he's not the only candidate that they said that kind of thing to. Some companies just do that kind of stuff. It doesn't make it right. He was reading in between the lines. I guarantee you, I have worked with a lot of companies that have implied to the candidate that they were going to hire them and then not hire them. I've even had candidates told they were going to get hired, never get hired. I've had them show up for a new job to find out that they didn't have a job. The company was sold. Lots of things happen. You got to forgive. It's not worth it. Expending emotional energy, calling me to talk to me about it 2 weeks after it went on like that isn't going to do any good. Forgive, forget, move on. If you have enough things, enough irons in the fire, if you have enough things going on where you're interviewing and you've got enough opportunities in front of you, if one falls off, that's it. It's no big deal. But forgive. They're just spiritual beings acting human. That's the way you have to see it. That's the way it's going to be. That's the way people are. And you ranting and raving about it, you being mad about it, you being anything but forgiving about it isn't going to do any good. It's going to destroy your insides. It's going to make you unhappy. It's going to mess you up. And it's just not worth it. So say a little prayer. Do forgiveness. Forgive. It doesn't do any good to do anything but that. They're doing what they think is right for them. It may not be right for you or right for anybody, but it lets you off the hook really, really fast. And you fighting over it and getting all upset about it isn't going to do any good. In fact, it's going to not prepare you well for the next opportunity. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashir with the Job Search Solution.